We're live, Dylan and I. NFL recap, baby. We did it another week. Before we get into the NFL recap, Dylan, we hit the college football parlay. We're officially positive on both parlays this year. When it came down to it, Dylan, when our backs were against the wall, it was time. Everyone was saying, you guys, you're going to be a losing show. You guys stink. You guys can't pick anything. You guys don't know ball. You guys make podcast equipment more expensive. What do? We delivered to the people, Dylan. Back against the wall, down. It's 30 seconds left. Dylan, the sports books left too much time on the clock for us.
We don't have a real problem on our hands, because not only did we hit college football parlay, are we just not going to talk about Ole Miss outright by a billion? Like the fact that game wasn't even close and we were all on it.
That was a trifecta. We all nailed the Ole Miss game, and I will say you nailed the Bama game. I wasn't heavy LSU. Connor was a little heavier on LSU than I was. I was a little standoffish on this game, but I'm glad we don't have to talk about LSU as a playoff contender anymore. We can just – that's done.
Yeah, college football show, but you're exactly right. And I think we will talk if you want me to cut a promo. So I've been live on the KarterKast TikTok, and I've had some people get in the chats of those lives, even the NFL lives, and start kind of asking me about Ohio State stuff. Oh, why are they not a top 5 team? It is getting to a point in the season to where my hand is going to be forced, Karter. I hate to say it, but I'm running out of teams to put in this top 5. What am I going to do?
You are, because I think Ohio State's a top 5 team.
No, well, I can't put Georgia in there anymore. We don't have to do this right now. But
real quick, can we get a teaser and then we'll talk NFL football?
Yeah.
Can you promise me something?
Depends what you want me to promise you.
Will BYU make the top 5?
I can promise that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can promise that. I can promise that.
Go.
That's not as bad as what it could have been.
Yeah.
I want to bring a couple housekeeping things. We hit the college football parlay. How many NFL ones have we hit? We've had like 3 that have missed one leg. Have we only hit 1 or 2?
We've only hit 1, but I tallied it up last night or this morning on the plane. Sorry, I don't know what time it is. I don't know where I am right now. I think I'm in North Carolina. I could be in Arizona still. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it was 4. Yeah, I think it was 4. 3 out of 4 legs hit.
Okay,
so all that says
we've cashed
is
2
due.
total.
Have we cashed 2 total? I think it's just 1.
Well, 1 NFL, 1 college.
Well, yeah, 2 total. Yes, yeah. And then I was saying 4 NFLs. We've been off by 1 leg.
And we missed this week by 1 as well, right? With 49ers?
Yeah, including this one. It was 3 and then now 4.
Okay, so I wanted to get some housekeeping there. Right now we are probably even. We could stop now. No? What, 12-1 for each one?
No. We are up. We are up about 1.2 units on college football.
Okay.
And we are up like 6 units still in the NFL.
So we could stop and just say, hey, if you watch the show, you're up money.
Theoretically, we could stop.
Okay.
But what did McLemore say?
Scare money don't make no money.
Wrong.
No.
Yes.
When I was in the 3rd grade, you want to finish it?
No, I don't.
No, election year. Let's not do it. Yeah, election year.
Yeah, election. Kids show.
This is a lot of housekeeping, but I did have one more thing I want to bring up. Is it just us? Is it just you and I running the show now? Or what do we got going on here?
That's what I'm saying.
We had NFL last week. Was Connor on the NFL recap?
I don't know. They're all blending in, Dylan.
I think just for the narrative, we're going to say no. And then, Ben's
was
leaving early.
Ben was
football.
on the last one, but Ben's leaving the shows early now. And, yeah, I think it's just us, Dylan.
It's tough.
I mean, our backs are hurting. Our backs are hurting, Dylan. We might need to go see a chiropractor.
Some people are saying that I'm holding the show back. I just want to say, Steelers Commanders clip did like 750 views. That was just you and I.
Hey, and
I'm
also
just saying.
we'll touch on that game in a second, but also I'm on 1 hour of sleep.
So this could get wild. That's why we didn't do it live.
This is why we didn't do it live, because BYU Utah played. After the game, I couldn't sleep. Went to bed around 1:30, 2 o'clock. Had to wake up at 3 a.m. to catch a flight. Yeah. So pretty much a waste of time going to sleep. And we are running off zero sleep right now. I had to pay for Wi-Fi on the flight to watch football today. Brutal, but I had to do it because I got to watch football.
United?
No. So I wanted to be able to multi-view it and see Red Zone on 2 screens. So one screen I had Red Zone, one screen I had a multi-view on Southwest.
Southwest, okay. I was going to say, Delta, you don't have to pay for Wi-Fi.
Delta, you don't have to pay, but I didn't fly Delta, unfortunately. But anyhow, let's talk football. Let's talk NFL. We're like 6 minutes into the show. Yeah. NFL football. Dylan, I think we're just going to be a kumbaya on this episode, man.
I think we're going to be in lockstep here.
Yep. I think this is going to be a lot of holding hands and say, we did it. We did it together, because, Dylan, who's the biggest winner of the week?
Mr. Unlimited. Danger Russ. Mr. Unlimited.
Let's ride.
Let's ride, baby. And listen, it's kind of ironic Connor's not here again. He did say, we have it on record in the KarterKast TikTok live stream chat, that he might have to reel back some of the Russell Wilson stuff. Look, we are living in a different era now. This is no longer 20 points, 17 points, 14 points, Steelers wins. With Russell Wilson as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. They are a Super Bowl caliber team. They are, Carter. You can't say you watched that game and you thought that they aren't.
They were on the ropes.
Well, okay, here's what I'll say about that. The Steelers are my biggest winner. Russell Wilson's my biggest winner. I won't talk about this team later, so I need to bring it up now. This Commanders offense is legit. I'll say it, right? I wanted to see it against a good defense. They played the Browns. I said, okay, I still want to see it. They played someone else, Ravens maybe, and I said, okay, I still want to see it. This is what I needed to see. So Commanders offense, good for you. But Russell Wilson lit it up today. 0.34 EPA per play. This guy is what makes Russell Wilson so different from Justin Fields is his ability to throw the ball down the field. And we're seeing depth of target numbers from Russell Wilson that we haven't seen from anybody else all year. This game only, 12.6 ADOT. He is 5 for 10. Or he was 5 for 10, 119 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception on passes of 10-plus air yards. 6 in EPA gained on throws of 20-plus yards. He's played 3 games. Total EPA on throws more than 20 yards. He's 6th. Carter, 3 games. He hasn't played the whole season like these guys. It's just, you even want to add on the 4th down at the end of the game to get the Commanders to jump off sides. Carter, I don't know if that's Russell Wilson. I don't know if that's the Commanders just not knowing. They're not snapping the ball. You should not be moving on that play. Absolutely insane stuff. Russell's looked great. The Steelers looked great. The defense stepped up when they had to. The Steelers are by far the biggest winner here, and I'm guessing you agree.
Steelers 1,000% the biggest winner, and I'll go a little different. Russell Wilson, obviously one of the biggest winners today. I'll go a little different here. I'm going to go Mike Tomlin, because I think today absolutely solidified the benching Justin Fields for Russell Wilson debate.
Oh my gosh.
It's over. Jover, whatever you want to say, it's over. Today was it. Today, I mean, we had seen it the previous couple games. You go against a great offense like the Commanders where you have to go pound for pound in a shootout today. Justin Fields loses that game by double digits today if he's playing.
My gosh.
And Mike Tomlin, I think, is the biggest winner because that took real balls to take a team that had a really good record and after a win and say, we're still starting Russell Wilson. It doesn't matter. We're still going. Russell's our guy. And that's a ballsy call. And shout out Mike Tomlin. It's paid off, and it's going to continue to pay off because this Steelers team is legit. Super Bowl contender. I need to see a little bit more.
From
AFC title contender 1,000%.
Okay. AFC title contender. AFC is the tougher of the conferences.
AFC title game. Sorry.
So just don't. What are we thinking here?
If it comes down to if they're in a one-off game against the Chiefs, where are you going?
What have you seen anything from the Chiefs? I mean, obviously they're winning their games. Have you seen anything from the Chiefs that's amazing?
Dylan, don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the trap. You did it last year.
Listen,
you did it last year. You said no. What would make you think the Chiefs? They win these games by little margins. They are a different team year after year in the playoffs. That matters. Mike Tomlin has been quite unsuccessful in the playoffs for years and years now.
But
bad quarterbacks.
He has had teams that are not this good. They've similar defenses, but the offenses have not been good. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head. I can't remember if it was 30 points or 25 points, but we have not seen an offense like this since at least 2021 for the Steelers. It wasn't like it's been since 2021. They've scored 30 points or something like that. I said it in Russ's first game. I can't remember, but like, the offense is just humming now, and this is a completely different team. Now, listen, I understand what you're saying. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, that combo in the playoffs is scary. If you're an AFC team, you're hoping that someone takes them out before you have to face them. But if that's the only team I'm worried about, and we'll get a better grip on this when they play the Ravens next week, because that's a legit contender. That's a good defense, great offense. And Russell's only faced the Jets, Giants, and Commanders. And I would argue neither of those teams have a complete offense and defense together. So we'll see it next week. But, man, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're pumped.
And the Ravens also, have more rest that week. So maybe an asterisk on that game for you, Dylan.
Oh, that's a good call out. I like that spot.
But no,
I like that spot.
Can I paint you a picture with the Steelers?
Picasso me up. Are we talking Andy Warhol? Surrealist, or are we talking Picasso type stuff?
Romantic period, maybe a little Baroque.
Oh, Baroque. Okay, all right.
I feel like this is shaping up to be Texans versus Steelers. 4 versus 5. And the Steelers are just the freest money you've ever seen in the first round of the playoffs.
Sell me on it. So are they So they're the first non-division winner?
I would say the Ravens still win the division.
Karter.
It really comes down to next week, doesn't it, though?
It really does come down to next week, and that's something where no one probably thought that was going to be the case. But
you did. I'll give you that.
Well, this isn't about me, right? I'm always wrong, so let's not make this about me. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that, but I think you're exactly right. You get a Texans team. I love this right now. I love that we're talking about the Steelers in the playoffs. They just look completely different. And can I say something while we wrap up Steelers talk?
Yeah.
Between you and I, no one else listening, because Connor's not here, Ben's not here, we are expecting a little bit of regression on the deep ball, right?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
We are just a little bit.
Mike Williams, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin the third, George Pickens threat. That dude has every intangible you've ever needed to have a successful wide receiver, and it just doesn't click for him. And now it's clicked with Russ.
That touchdown pass to Mike Williams, that was Russell had no clue where that ball was going. He just he was like, "Oh,
chuck that up."
What's the meme? Screw it. Pickens is down there somewhere.
Yes.
Not Pickens. Williams is down there somewhere. Yeah, that won't land every time. But Justin doesn't even come close to making that throw. So you see the advantage of having Russell, but some regression might be inbound. But that's where the defense steps in. That's where you have one of the best defenses in football. That's where it steps in. So love the Steelers moving forward.
Last thing on the Steelers, I want to reiterate this point because I don't think we touched on it hard enough. Are the Steelers an actual Super Bowl contender in your eyes?
Yeah.
Sell me on it.
The defense. No, I think number one, you have to have a defense. That's what I was high on the Falcons, and I don't want to go off into too many tangents, but a team like the Falcons, it's hard to go Super Bowl contender because that defense is so bad. The Steelers have it, and then you see what they can do with Russ on offense. Now, let's picture the NFC overall is pretty weak. You have the Lions. I'm going to say the 49ers after this week. And from there, it kind of falls off for me. the Steelers in the AFC, you have the Chiefs who just know how to win games. Ravens, really 3 teams in the AFC North. No, I'm not worried about anybody in the South. And the East, maybe the Bills. Like, I don't know.
I would say definitely the Bills.
I don't see how the Steelers are going to be a huge underdog to any of those teams on a neutral field.
I think that's fair.
Neutral. Yeah, I say neutral field being like as just like in comparison. I understand you don't play at a neutral field in the playoffs, but
yeah,
just as comparison.
I think that's fair though, because the defense fact. I mean, what do you need in the playoffs? You need defense. You have to be able to hang your head on that. But also, it just matters is this Russell Wilson like phenomenon sustainable right now? And that's the key here, is if it's sustainable and it's going to be able to, be successful against harder and harder defenses throughout the year, and in these cold AFC North battles that we're going to see even like next week against the Ravens, that's when if they go out and beat the Ravens by double digits, I mean, just sign me up. I mean, just put me on the bandwagon. I'm all in. I mean, I've already said I'm sussy for Russie, but if they can do that, if they can beat the Ravens when the Ravens have the rest advantage and they go out and win by 7-10 points, that's a Super Bowl contender.
At Baltimore?
It's at Baltimore?
Home. It's home. No, it's not. It's not. I was asking. Okay. Sorry. I
was about to say,
Pittsburgh.
If they did that at Baltimore?
I want it on the record, again, for the 4th time as we wrap up Steelers talk. There is regression inbound for Russell Wilson and these deep balls, but that's where the defense comes into play. When you have a defense that good, even when that regression comes, it neutralizes the effect. So we might have a Russell Wilson game within the next 3 weeks where he throws 2 interceptions on those deep balls, but it's going to be the defense that keeps him in. So I love the outlook here.
I am still slightly worried about the run game, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith is going to want to keep hitting. They're going to have to move on from that at some point because Arthur Smith loves to run the ball. He did it in his time at Tennessee as an offensive coordinator, and he had Derrick Henry, so it worked a little bit better than it does with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. But there are things to fix. Very bullish on the Steelers team. 7-2. They've lost 2 games this year. 2.
Dylan, it's time to move on to the biggest loser. I think we got the same answer here, buddy. I think we got the same answer here. The Chicago Bears.
No. Carter's bad.
Chicago Bears, right?
It's mine's the Chicago Bears.
Okay, just making sure we had the same answer.
I put Chicago Bears plus Caleb Williams.
Yes, I think that's fair.
He was sacked 9 times, Carter. And this is a Patriots team that is not that good, right? And that's we know they're not that good. Hold on one second. I don't want to get the squeak of the chair in there. Caleb Williams sacked 9 times. You say, Dylan, hey, that's a product of the offensive line. Like, he can't do anything about that. And I would say, well, I did some research, deep stats. Williams is responsible for over 20% of his pressures this season. So on PFF, you can look at who is responsible for the pressure. He has the 5th highest rate of pressures he's responsible for in terms of quarterbacks. And I understand he's a rookie. This is his 9th game. He'll figure it out. Sure. Am I calling for his job? Absolutely not. But right now, Drake May and Jane Daniels are making a lot of people in Chicago look pretty dumb. And at some point, we have to have a conversation. Is it Williams? Is it the offensive line? Is it the fact that you went out and got Keenan Williams, who looks like a shell of himself from what he did in Los Angeles? Is it Eberflus? Like, Big Cat's calling for Eberflus's job, and there are some boneheaded. Last week, when they kept him in against the Cardinals and he like injured his leg or whatever, it wasn't a bad injury, but it's like, what are you doing keeping this guy in here? There's nothing he can learn when you're down this much. Really, Bears, by far the biggest loser.
And the number one point.
Hear what you have to say.
Number 1 point. They lost to the freaking Patriots at home by 16.
And one thing I want to point out, a lot of people talked about that game, Bears-Commanders, as a battle of the quarterback. Drake May was drafted in this draft class as well, and I didn't hear a peep about that. And Drake May outplayed him.
100%. You know who else sneaky might have been outplaying him so far this season? Bo Nix.
You might be right. You might be right, Carter.
And I'm one of the biggest anti-Bo Nix guys that are out there, but let's call it like it is. Caleb Williams has not been great this year. And look, you can blame the offensive line 100%. That I am 100% on that train. But the times he is given time in the pocket to throw, he is missing so many wide receivers. A lot of guys are open, and he's just missing them. So many overthrows. I feel like he's had the most overthrows this season in the NFL. And also, he's holding the ball too long. He could do this dancing thing in college, and it's not translating to the NFL whatsoever. And Pat Mahomes learned this. You got to get the ball out quicker. You got to hit your reads quicker. Caleb Williams is the biggest loser today, the Bears, but also Matt Eberflus. He's a goner. Him and Doug Peterson are going to be on LinkedIn in no time because this is all setting up for Ben Johnson to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears.
You think so?
I think so.
He didn't he say, Ben Johnson being it would have to be the perfect situation?
And I don't think it really gets much more perfect than this if you believe Caleb Williams can be an all-pro quarterback. If you believe in Caleb Williams and you think that potential's there, all you have to really, it feels like they're an offensive line away. If you believe Caleb Williams is that guy, if you build out the offensive line, this Bears team is a 10-win team. No questions asked. That defense is there. The wide receivers are there. Running back, fine. Quarterback should be there. Offensive line, bottom 5 in the league.
Well, let's look at some pass block numbers here. Maybe. They're 12th pass block rating. Receiving's not that great. That's where they lack, at least on PFF and passing. So, and obviously you can't encapsulate a whole season just in a PFF ranking. But I don't know. It's not looking great.
When do we get to talk about DJ Moore being a bad body language guy?
Oh, wasn't it just last week he just walked off the field?
Yeah, it's just people are just like, yeah, DJ Moore's awesome. DJ Moore this. It's like, well, DJ Moore's had a history of having terrible body language on the field throughout his time in Carolina and Chicago.
Are you trying to spin this somehow and say that the Panthers won the trade?
Oh, no.
Are you setting yourself up here, Carter?
We're a couple weeks out from saying we won the trade.
A couple dubs, a win against the Chiefs away.
A win against the Chiefs in 2 weeks. We won the trade. Because at that point, hear me out. At that point,
I'm here. I'm listening.
The Bears and the Panthers would have the exact same record, and Bryce Young will have played better this season than Caleb Williams.
I love the sick sports fan brain coming out. There's nothing better. Real quick
on that point. My favorite thing is everyone listening right now. My Panthers opinions are so blurred and so distorted. Shout out Luke Gray, though. He was at the Munich game today in Germany. Shout out. My Panthers stuff is so distorted. I feel like I have a really good sense on most other things when we talk about sports and whatnot. But my Panthers stuff, even when I talk about Duke or BYU, whatever, I feel like I'm very level-headed and grounded. The Panthers, I cannot help myself. I see Jalen Coker catch 2 balls for 31 yards. I'm like, yep, I'm a cokehead. I'm insane.
Oh, quote card it.
Yes, I'm a cokehead.
At what point do you have to consider sending Luke Gray to every game to win? Like paying out of the KarterKast budget.
Let me talk to that has to come out of the Carolina Panthers budget.
Okay. Talk to the accountant first.
Yeah, we'll talk to the Carolina Panthers. We might have to get Luke Gray to every game.
We might have to.
Know. He's undefeated.
That's true. Real quick about the Bears, I had a couple stats I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
Series success. So this is, you start a new series, first down. How many times you get a new first down out of that series? So you have first down, you get another first down, that's a successful series. If you have a first down, you have to punt, you turn over on downs, interception, that's an unsuccessful series. The Bears, 50% of their 22 series were successful. That is abysmal. They got first downs 50% of the time. They average just over 11 yards per drive, which is awful. New England, who's not a great team, we already talked about it, doubled up their total yards, 3 more yards per play. The Bears won the turnover battle, and they still scored, 3 points? Just really bad stuff to hit home that fact that the Bears are by far the biggest loser. And people were really hung up on those wins against a beat-up Los Angeles Rams team, the Jaguars, and the Panthers, no offense. And now they're starting to come back to earth now.
Fakest performance. I think there's 2 obvious answers here. You go first.
Zagged a little bit here. Zagged. Didn't zig, I zagged. I said the 49ers. Because you look at that score. You look at the score and you see a 3-point win, took a last-minute field goal to come out on top. The 49ers dominated this game every which way. Purdy had nearly half an EPA per play. They were efficient on early and late downs, especially in the air. Purdy had 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, three missed field goals. Kept this game from being a double-digit win. And you know how I feel. That's not going to happen every time. You might have to have a kicker conversation. Maybe Moody wasn't fully healthy. But you're going to see that score, and you're going to say, oh, the Bucs kept this close. This game was not close. Now, I will say in the Bucs' defense, I don't know if you were able to watch any of this game, but at the end, Baker Mayfield was just making stuff happen. And I understand Connor specifically is not a big Baker guy. I've never been anti-Baker, but the dude doesn't quit. He stiff-armed Bosa and just held him. Didn't actually hold him, that'd be a penalty, but kept him off him for 5 yards or so running laterally and completes a pass for a first down. Really impressive stuff from Baker. I want to give them that credit, but you look at this score, you think, oh, it's close. This game was not close in the slightest. So the 49ers were my fakest performance because they actually looked better than what the score indicates.
Oh, fakest performance in a good way. I'm going to go fakest performance in a bad way. There's 2 obvious ones. The Chiefs.
Okay.
Just gross. Do we have to explain more? They just have this weird voodoo magic on how to win these games. You win a game off a blocked field goal. I mean, that's just fake. What are we doing here? They should have lost this game. That is a fake win.
Well, we called it. We said something was going to happen. We thought they were going to funnel in some wind or something, but they just end up blocking it.
Just end up blocking it, of course. And then I think every casual and hardcore football fan sat there and goes, somehow, some way, the Broncos are blowing this. And I almost spilled my next team, the Minnesota Vikings. They field goal Doug Peterson to losing a job. They literally field goal Doug Peterson to death.
Yes, you're exactly right. Field goal to death. And Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell said, hey, there's no reason to question that Darnold's our guy. You beat a Mac Jones-led Jaguars team by 5.
With no offensive touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
And all those, at least 2 of those interceptions were red zone interceptions, the worst time to throw interceptions. And it took an abysmal Jacksonville Jaguars offensive performance for them to squeak this win out too, for Minnesota to squeak this win out.
Does Doug Peterson have dirt on the owners? Because he should have been fired 2-3 weeks ago.
Well, now you have to wonder. I think you're right. I don't want to. I hear that. I think with the whole Trevor Lawrence thing, he buys himself some time.
I don't think so. I think Monday morning this show's gonna come out and it's gonna be Doug Peterson has been fired.
And you're an expert. You're an expert at this content thing.
Because I was like, I think we got this notification a week ago. What? It's not even going to be a big deal in the sports world. We're like, oh yeah, this was.
Wait, he's still coaching?
Yeah, exactly. And then the Bill Belichick rumors are going to start swirling. You're going to see all the NFL aggregators being like, Bill Belichick might be interested in the job, and you're like, okay, whatever. It's effing Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence has a serious injury, and Dylan, quickly, most important performance.
Most important performance, I said Daniel Jones and the Giants. This is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's most important because it forces us to have a conversation about Daniel Jones. And like at this point, you have to consider, this was really bad.
Why was the conversation? I think the conversation was always being held. I don't think it ever should have been forced. I think it should have just been, he's done. It's over. You lost to the Carolina Panthers.
It feels like that this might be what's the saying? Is it the straw that broke the camel's back?
Is it the straw? Saying that, yeah.
He says that?
He says it, yeah.
Well, this might have been the straw that breaks the camel's back because he looked awful. The flea flicker, Dabble was very mad with him. He was missing a guy down the field, 190 yards, two interceptions against, no offense again, Carter, a bad Panthers defense. You said it yourself, could be the worst defense of all time?
All time. Not yet. The last two games have, helped them a little bit, but it's been against very bad teams.
Yeah. And this is, you can have the question. I said Daniel Jones. You could also be the Giants as the most important performance because I think they exposed themselves of who they really are. It's just who's to blame. Is it Dabble? Is it Daniel Jones?
Dayball. It's Dayball.
Dayball. Dabble.
It's Dayball.
You know I'm bad with names. and pronunciation.
Dylan.
Some guy on the TikTok live today got upset with me because I was saying Jaguars wrong. Jaguars. He said that's not how you say it, and I said, "Well, can you give me the phonetic spelling?" And he says he doesn't do phonetics. So I said, "I'm just gonna keep saying it the way I do." But he said I was saying it wrong. Jacksonville Jags.
Yeah, just say Jags.
Yeah, I'll go there. So Dabble. Yeah, is it Dabble's fault? Or is it his fault or not?
I think this team just stinks. I don't think it's a Dayball problem. I think there's just a really bad football team. What was your most important performance? Yeah, I have a couple. Let's go good most important performance first. I have two. One, the Carolina Panthers, because Bryce Young's not that bad.
Yes, he is. He's awful.
No, he's not.
He is so bad.
No, he's not. He's working with an undrafted wide receiver and a rookie. Tight end.
I was going to say another rookie, too. Bryce Young was not good. He had negative EPA per play, 6.6 average depth of target. And even with that short average depth of target, he had a negative 5.7 completion percentage over expected. So what'd you see that was impressive from Bryce Young?
He was awesome. What do you mean? He made the big play. Yeah. Made the plays when it mattered. I don't know about you.
Playmaker.
That's a noted playmaker. Back-to-back wins. How many teams can say that right now? Probably like 10.
Yeah, but that narrows it down to a third of the league. So is Bryce Young a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
Jury's out. Jury's still out on that one. We'll get there.
I want to be on that jury duty so bad.
Let's go most important bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets are officially dead.
That was bad.
They are dead. They are gone. Rest in peace to the 2024 New York Jets. Robert Saleh couldn't save them. Whatever their interim head coach's name that I can't remember off the top of my head is done. Daniel Hackett will not be there next year. Aaron Rodgers is done. They're done. It's over. It's over in New York. They're not making the playoffs. They are going to mess around. They're going to be weird spreads in games. They're going to have some weird backdoor covers in games, but this is not a playoff team. It's over.
I'm glad we figured out that Saleh was the problem. I'm glad that we nipped that at the bud. I did have a question here about in news and notes. What does this do for Rodgers' legacy? I saw at the end of that game where he looks dejected. He's getting sacked, sacked, fumbles, all this stuff. What does this mean for Aaron Rodgers moving forward?
That's a great question because does he get remembered as, okay, it was just like Michael Jordan when he played on the Wizards? Or because I don't think Aaron Rodgers has that same level of success and notoriety and, unquestioned, love by so many fans outside of Packers fans, because he was in the shadow of Tom Brady for so many years. I think it does ding him a little bit because especially the way he went about it. I think that's going to rub people the wrong way. I think people are going to remember how he treated the organization, how he treated the other players on this team, and how he went about it as a diva and all this stuff. I think that's how it's going to be remembered. And so I think it does ding him in that way. But like when an older guy plays on a crappier team and whatnot, usually it doesn't. But I think it's just the way he's gone about it is going to ding him on his legacy a little bit. Not by much.
Okay, I'm going to out myself here. Has he won a Super Bowl?
Dylan, yes.
What year?
He won 2012, if I remember correctly.
That's way before. I didn't start paying attention until 2019, so that's way before my time.
He beat the Steelers He beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl in 2012, I believe. No, it might have been 2011. No, because that was the Giants. It's either I think it was 2012, but I could be wrong. We might get stats department on it.
Okay. Well, either way, it was before my time, so I don't feel bad asking that question. I wanted to ask, is Rodgers' legacy tainted? We touched on that. A couple news and notes.
Real quick, one more most important performance today. Two. Let's go good in a way. It's not even. Let's go bad. Switch up. Change up. Audible. Omaha.
Oh.
The Falcons. That is a game you cannot lose. You know. The Saints are a bad football team, Dylan. You know this.
Interim head coach.
No, I don't care.
We're not cutting him some slack. This is also a game, if you're the Falcons, it doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the problem is, Dylan, when you're giving up 109 yards and 2 touchdowns to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and you're losing to this Saints team that has lost 7 straight, you win this game. You've got to win this game. They are setting themselves up to be the 4 seed in the NFC and get bounced in the first round. This is what it's setting up to be.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy, but I don't.
And that's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that's the most important performance, because that's what teams like this do, and they're exposing themselves.
I don't know if, at least for me, if it was this week that told me that. I think I put no. This just wasn't that important to me. It was a game I don't think they thought they needed to win. And they don't to win the division, to be completely honest.
So you think this is just a mental? This was play down to your competition. We aren't really thinking about this week.
Honestly, yeah, and maybe I'm giving them excuses, but yeah. And what was the final score of that one?
2017. I honestly don't hate that logic, because
missed field goal. The missed field goal away from being a tight game.
Okay, sure, fine, whatever. I don't care. You don't lose to the New Orleans Saints this year. You don't. If you want to be a contender, if you want to be talked about as an NFC title contender, you don't lose to the New Orleans Saints. Simple as that.
If you want to win the AFC, you don't lose to the Raiders. And same thing with the Ravens. I mean, we could sit here. Teams upset teams all the time.
Yeah, but I think you bring up a good point. I think I might have gotten got.
That's refreshing to hear. After the week I've had, that is refreshing to hear.
What do you mean you had a great week? You picked Alabama and Ole Miss. It's a great week. We've got the
people
Steelers.
Don't care.
We got trashed on this. Yeah, I know. We just need another week of us being wrong, so people will be like, "Yeah, haha," and then you're like, "Well, we had an amazing weekend last week," you know.
Yeah. They don't know.
News and notes.
Oh, news and notes.
Sorry, one last thing.
You're okay.
Interrupting. I feel terrible about it.
No, that's okay. I don't care.
This isn't really a football analysis thing. It's just a matter of how many boring games are the Chargers going to keep playing? Because, look, I think Will Levis had a couple nice throws today for sure. But I just feel like every Chargers game I see, it's just like, oh, they're playing them this week. Oh, they're playing the Broncos. They're playing the Raiders. They're playing the Titans. They're playing the Panthers. I just feel like every single week that's what it is with the Chargers. And they're getting the job done, so credit to them.
Every week.
I feel like they just play a nobody.
That's going to change because they have the Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs the next 4 weeks.
Well, they got their job done so far. Yeah, that is a gauntlet. News and notes.
I also want to say real quick about the Chargers. Hassan Haskins scored a touchdown today. That is a Dylan touchdown score if I've ever seen one, and I missed out completely.
Dylan, when that popped up on the, I watched Red Zone for the afternoon slate. When that popped up on the Red Zone, I thought about texting you.
I'm glad you did. I knew it. Now we know that Jim Harbaugh likes the revenge slant because Hassan Haskins was on the Titans at one point. News and notes. We touched on the Russ ones. Did you see the clip of Mahomes asking the ref to let him know if a defender gets close?
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that. I didn't really dive too deep into it.
Just the fact that it's Mahomes is funny because it got like 4 million views. I mean, I think it was with regards to a late hit running out of bounds or something like that. But it's not the ref's job to let you know if a defender's close. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much on that.
Okay. How has your gambling been in the NFL this year?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So pretty good to start. Had a rough couple weeks. Last couple weeks, decent. My problem is the last couple weeks, I've gotten destroyed. Spread bets, money lines, great. Mm-hmm. I get talked into these anytime touchdowns, and I'm getting
Who's talking you into
killed right now.
Who's talking you into them?
My brain.
Well, maybe you're schizophrenic and you need to get medicated or something because you can't. If you're doing well on the spreads and the money lines, you need to stop. The reason why I asked,
I'm only taking like 2 or 3 spreads or money lines or totals each week.
Well, that's responsible. How many touchdown scores?
Just
including
depends.
parlays.
Including parlays, do bonus bet counts? Because I only really do parlays on bonus bets. Okay, then no. 3 or 4, depending.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked you is because I've had an awful year. College and NFL, this was the first week that finally gave. I was okay for the first couple weeks, and it was just brutal from like week 4 to now. Apparently, according to an article from Awful Announcing, NFL fans have gotten the best of DraftKings. DraftKings adjusted their financial guidance based on, quote, customer-friendly sports outcomes. So for us sharp guys, just know it's got to give at some point. We're on the right sides. We're due. So that the end of the season, we might be rolling in it.
You know what? I've noticed that all season where you see a rat line, it'll be, in college football, this unranked team is favored against a ranked team. That's always the telltale sign of take that team usually, dive into the numbers. If the numbers match up, take that team 100% of the time if all of those things line up. And I feel like that ranked team is still winning as an underdog. BYU, I think, is the prime example in these spots, but it's happened throughout college football this season. Usually it is an automatic you take that 100% of the time, and it hasn't been that way this year.
It hasn't, and apparently DraftKings is raking it in. Imagine, this is just professional, like corporate Dylan coming out, going on a call with your shareholders and then explaining why you're losing so much money, and you're just like, customer-friendly sports outcomes. Oh, the favorites are 74 and 61 against the spread.
Though, yeah, you have to put it in the most white-collar way of, hey, these Joe Schmoes are cooking us. Which is crazy.
Is having a heyday.
Which is crazy. This is going to get a little too deep into the weeds a little bit, but I feel like these books nowadays, and they're much smarter than me, so I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, blah, 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 tell them what to do. But they're probably much smarter than me. But wouldn't the goal be, I understand you trust your number, you have the analytics, you trust your number to a degree, but wouldn't it be at some point you're just want to get to 50-50 bets? Isn't that the actual goal of bookmaking?
I thought that at one point too. After doing my research, it seems like it's in the best interest of sports books to have sharps on one side and like again, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but like if you have someone really sharp, come in and take Lions -3.5 tonight, and you know that that's probably the right side because that sharp money came in. Let's say you move it to 4, and then a bunch of money from the public comes in on the Texans. Like, I think at some point, sports books are okay with being exposed to that because they know the guys that actually know their stuff are on the Lions. However, a lot of these books like FanDuel and DraftKings will not let sharps bet with them. So
which I think is crazy too, because even I've been limited on some of these.
Karter, we're the sharpest in the business. So, I mean, is that a surprise?
I mean, no, it's not a surprise. But also, it's crazy. Like, you don't even win. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not even that significant of amount of money you win. And they'll limit you because, oh, no, you're good. And then my problem is, okay, that frankly is wrong. It's just flat out wrong that they can do that when they're fine taking $100,000 of some idiot's money. But then, all of a sudden someone wins 5, 10, 15 grand on your book, and you're like, you're down to $3 bets, buddy.
And I've seen this before on smaller books that were available in Ohio. They're not anymore. You try to bet on like a player prop that where the market is not as liquid, and they will reject your bet and then use that information to change the line. Yes. So it's like there's no doubt that some of these books are doing that with the sharp guys that are trying to bet a couple thousand a game. And it's like, I'm going to take the Lions minus 3.5. They say, whoa, you can't bet that. But we are going to use that information that you tried to bet it and move the line because we know that's the side you like. Which that's wrong, even worse.
I took a college basketball conference future. It said half of it needed to be approved by a trader. And I'm like, what? What are we doing here? It was like $10. Like, what are we doing here? And then also, it happened again. Soccer, player prop, Darwin Nunez, 2 shots on target. Bang, by the way. Half of it needs to be approved by a trader. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, it's not like we're putting down 10 grand and the argument is, what if the player or what if the player's friends are laying all these bets down on these player props and stuff like that? It's like, well, no. Like,
call me crazy. Context clues. I think someone named Karter Baughan is not related to Darwin Nunez. Just context clues there.
So some idiot in North Carolina is placing a small wager on Darwin Nunez 2 shots on goal 8 minutes before kickoff. Meanwhile, they're like, I don't know, this guy, he might be he knows something about Liverpool.
Can I propose a solution for these for these books? I want to propose a solution. It's what Circus Sports does. You open the lines, you make smaller max wagers, $1,000 or whatever, and then as time goes on and the line gets more efficient, you go $1,000 max bet to $5,000 max bet, and then by the time Sunday rolls around, you get up to $20,000 or whatever.
But in reality, doesn't that seem like the only way this is a sustainable business model? Because I feel like the way FanDuel and DraftKings does it, they expose themselves so much into the straight betting part of it, where it must be, hey, we're raking in so much from parlays, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting business, and I will say the use and abuse of promos is wild too, because I signed up for an account, let's just say a new account, and I can compare promos, and the old account that I have is I get 5% boosts. Or boost, 30% primetime boost that has to be a same game parlay. There's another account that I know gets the same boost, but it's a straight bet. It could be any bet, or like 30% boost instead of 5% boost. It's wild. It's a wild business. I would love to learn more about it.
Yeah, it is a very wild business, but I think that's enough for football today. Yeah, that's a great NFL recap show, Dylan.
A little sports betting talk.
We're going to be back Tuesday. We've got Georgia, Tennessee this week for college football. We can talk a little bit about Ole Miss, Georgia. Dylan, we might have to change the recording times for our. No, it's either got to be Monday or later, because I wish we could. You know what? How about this? We'll do this for the people. We'll go live for the college football playoff reveal, like you did last week. But we're gonna record Monday. We're gonna record the podcast Monday. It'll be out Tuesday where we preview everything. But we will go live on TikTok at KarterKast on TikTok, and we will do a college football playoff reveal, and we'll talk about it.
Deal. I'm in.
All right. There we go. We're in. Make sure to follow at KarterKast on everything, at Wilkerson A. Dillon, at CarterBA. Download SeatGeek, use code KarterKast. $20 off your first purchase. Subscribe. You're on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, hit that follow button. put 5 stars in the rate review spot. Dylan, anything else before we go?
Steelers Super Bowl?
Wow. Not yet on the Steelers Super Bowl. What a great show that was. All right, we're out of here. Bye.